Our next performer, you might think it's Shy, but it's actually Shais Rishon. I just should put that out there. Shais Rishon. He is listed as one of the Jewish Week's 36 under the 36 list. Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to prepare yourself to embark on the journey of one giant collective brain date into the mind of Shais Rishon, MaNishtana.
I want to hear that guy. Can we hear me? Might have broken the mic. Great. Anyway, the year was 2010, and I was single. It's much less glamorous than it sounds. It pretty much boils down to me being up for any activity that offered a high enough percentage of women and or alcohol, which is how I ended up in a bar in New York enjoying a free happy hour. Thank you, ROI. So there I am out on the dance floor listening to horrifying music when I hear it. Don't you think you're being a little obnoxious? Weird, right? I turn and I see this little blonde sprite dressed in a cowboy hat, tube top, cut off denim shorts, and glitter. For a moment, I might have been looking at Kesha. But I was a little confused. I was just standing out there with my drink. I wasn't sure how I was being obnoxious. I'm not saying that I'm not. I'm just not sure specifically how I was being obnoxious. Although, to be fair, there I was in a bar in a button-down shirt, tie, vest, pocket watch fob, because I'm classy, obviously, and my black and gray snakeskin shoes, not to mention my black and gold kippah, and my tzitzit swayed in my hands like little jazz hands. Was I being obnoxious because I was slightly too well-dressed for a pub on a Thursday night? Perhaps. Was she offended because I was drinking a double shot of bourbon neat and not swilling back a Bud Light because I'm not a farmer? I had no idea. So I asked her, "Excuse me? You're wearing leather shoes. Don't you think that's so obnoxious?" Ah, the plot thins. I'm sorry, I still won't under. Jews aren't supposed to wear leather. What are you talking? That's not a thing. Jews can wear. I'm Jewish. I know Jews can't wear leather. See, I'm used to the questions questioning the existence of my Judaism in the first place. How are you Jewish? Fine, thanks. How are you Jewish? You're Jewish? Well, they let black people do anything nowadays. Thanks, Obama. Oh, you're Orthodox. You're like really Jewish. Oh, yes, I'm made with bits of real Jew, not oil and water like those imitation brands. But very rarely did I get questions that acknowledged my Judaism and somehow were still stupid. Like, back when I was a substitute English teacher in New York in high school, I walk in to pick up my temporary schedule for the day. I'm dressed in like a blazer, Superman t-shirt, jeans, and chucks, and as always, my kippah and tzitzit. The principal walks into the main office, gives me one look, and says, "You seem like you must be a very interesting person." Why? Because I'm bridging the insurmountable gap between Comic-Con, H&M, and Westside Judaica? Also, you must be a very interesting person. Like, was there a theme song playing somewhere that everyone else could hear but me? He once caught a live gefilte fish. At the seder, Eliyahu leaves a cup out for him. He once turned manischewitz into wine. He is the most interesting Jew in the world. L'chaim, my friends. Like, seriously? But then she continues, like, I assume you must be a recent convert to Judaism? Like, it wasn't the convert part that bothered me, I'm not, but what I found weird was the recent parts. Like, what part of a kippah, a Superman t-shirt, and a blazer reads recent convert to you? Like, that was I like watching Superman on DVD? And I decided to like go buy an Old Navy, buy a shirt, and what's this? A Judaica shop? Oh no, I've fallen through the window display, and I'm covered in hummus and Woody Allen, that weird white sauce and shawarma, and well, I guess I'm Jewish now. Off to work I go. And as irritating as the stupid questions are, it's worse when there are no questions, but for the wrong reasons, which is pretty much any time I'm out with my in-laws. To paint a better picture, my wife's mother is a gray-eyed, blonde-haired, white Ashkenazi German Jewish woman. My wife's father is a dark-skinned, African-American Southern Catholic man, and that is not my story. It's my wife's story. There's nothing wrong with that story, it's just that's not my story. But when I'm out with my white Ashkenazi mother-in-law, it's, oh, that's how his Jewish makes sense. His mother's white. When I'm out with my African-American father-in-law, it's, oh, that's how his Jewish makes sense. He's a convert. And when I'm out with my in-laws and my caramel-skinned wife, it's, oh, that biracial interfaith kid found himself a good Sephardi woman. It's frustrating having to constantly tell people that you're not a Venn diagram. I don't have a black side and a Jewish side. I have black Jewish side A and black Jewish side B. Black Jewish parent 1 and black Jewish parent 2. But anyway, back at the bar, for some insane reason, I decided that I'm going to try to enlighten this poor girl. After all, this is like the perfect example of a teachable moment. It's also the perfect example of when you're talking to somebody and you can see that the wheel is turning, but the hamster's dead. So I say to her, yes, there are certain times when Jews can't wear leather, but generally speaking, there's no prohibition against it. And then she says, no, you're wrong. You need to learn more. You have no idea how infuriated I was. Firstly, I'm standing here dressed like Masterpiece Theater, but I'm getting fashion trips from cowboy stripper Barbie. Secondly, drunk little Miss Judy's warrior is dangerously close to spilling her shrimp cocktail on my leather shoes. Thirdly, is that a tramp stamp tattoo I spy as she swishes off into the night? Yes, it was. The only way things would have gotten more ironically offensive is if her name had in fact been Leviticus. But it's funny because when I tell people the story, they start automatically dispensing apologetics. Well, not everybody knows. Everyone doesn't grow up observant. Not everyone learns the halachot. It's all true. It's all possibly valid. But although this girl didn't know the difference between a shofar and a chauffeur, there was one thing she did know. She knew that I was black. And that's all she needed to know to claim the authority to tell me that I was doing Jewish wrong. L'chaim, my friends.